Hello and welcome to my senior project presentation. My name is Carmen D'Estasio and I will be talking about music and art therapy as standard care for PTSD. So my presentation will include my research question, why I chose this topic, what I hope to learn, my claim, my overall research, my product, my favorite parts of senior project, and what I gained overall from senior project. So my research question is music and art therapy beneficial enough to be offered as standard care alongside cognitive behavioral therapy for treatment of PTSD? So why I chose this topic. About 3 years ago, I was living along the Gulf Coast in Mississippi, and I began volunteering at a local retirement home that was a retirement home for veterans and for retirees of the military. And it was a lovely area, a lovely retirement home. And I began volunteering and I began working alongside other volunteers and workers at the retirement home. And I volunteered mostly in the unit of the retirement home with patients that suffered more from just different effects from being in the military, such as PTSD and other disorders. I worked a lot with patients there that did suffer from PTSD, and I would volunteer, do lots of activities with them. And one of the most common activities that I helped with was their music therapy sessions. I've always had a strong, deep passion for the arts, especially music. So this was such a joy for me to take part in, helping them play their instruments, teaching them how to play their instrument, helping the music therapist instructor hand out instruments, just the overall simple duties, but just taking part in these therapy sessions was overall a very fun experience, but a great learning experience as well. And it really spiked my curiosity in the overall idea of music therapy and how the use of music can be implemented in helping heal people, helping treat these symptoms that these PTSD patients suffer from, because these symptoms can be very strong and very annoying to these people that suffer from PTSD. So the idea that music can be used to just calm their minds, relax them, increase activity, do all these great things was so fascinating to me. And I really wanted to work more on the learning aspect of it, the academic, where I can take this, how far can I learn and grow in my knowledge of this. Of course, I had experience in the field, somewhat, it's not too professional, just volunteering, but it was real life experience, and seeing it is one thing, but being able to learn about it, grow in my knowledge of it, was truly, truly wonderful. And I was very happy that I got the chance to spend a whole class learning about it. So that is what gravitated me towards choosing this topic, as well as my passion for the arts, especially music, and as well as my captivation for psychology. I love psychology, the idea of working with the mind, how we can use tools to help heal it, such as music and art, to ease the mind. And I'm very fascinated with therapy. And I would like to have a career in psychology. I'm not sure yet what exactly I would like to do, but therapy is definitely an option. So I loved working on a topic that involved therapy. So what I'd hoped to learn, kind of just basing off of what I said before, was just an overall better, stronger understanding of what artistical therapies can do, specifically music therapy, what they can do for the human mind, how they really affect it, um, how beneficial it can be, if it is beneficial at all. I think was the one of the greatest things I wanted to learn, because although I saw it firsthand, helping these people calm down, have fun, to really explore more scientific aspects of it, to really delve deep into seeing if it is beneficial. So I hope to learn that. Um, I wanted to grow my knowledge on how effective music is. I saw and I know that music can affect people, but that's more of a personal bias. So to do actual research with facts um, was something I'd really hoped to develop on and work on. Um, Also, just on top of that, I really hope to learn a lot about music therapy. That's how I began my research. But throughout, I discovered that there isn't just music therapy for as a form of treatment for PTSD patients or other patients suffering from other mental disorders. I also came across lots of studies done on. I came across lots of information on art therapy, how it can be beneficial, um, and how it has an overall effect on patients as well. It's not just music. So I was able to discover something that I didn't expect to discover, which was also very great. I wanted to have a better grasp of what music and art therapy is. I had an idea from seeing it and just from previous knowledge, but I really wanted to develop my knowledge on it. I also hope to develop a really strong work ethic. I feel that the skills I learned in senior project will be very helpful in college, just working on theses, and research papers and um, project building skills. I think a lot of those skills, time management, will be very helpful in college, and knowing how to do it will be very beneficial. So I had hoped to really develop a strong sense of research, paper writing, project building, work ethic. So my claim is this: the standard treatment for PTSD patients is CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. Although this standard treatment may be effective, alternate therapies such as music and art therapy provide more freedom for the patient in choosing how they want their PTSD symptoms to be treated. Therefore, music and art therapy should be proposed as the standard care for PTSD patients rather than CBT. So, through my research, I discovered that the main um, standard treatment for PTSD is cognitive behavioral therapy. If a patient is diagnosed with PTSD, their doctor will recommend CBT as the standard for helping calm their nerves, calm the symptoms that they will experience, and to treat the PTSD and the symptoms that come along. With my research and working off of my claim, I had hoped with my research to prove that music and art therapy is beneficial enough to be used and offered as a standard treatment alongside or in place of cognitive behavioral therapy. With my research, what I began working on was it consisted mostly of reports and reviews that I found. So I found several reports done on studies that were conducted on PTSD patients in music or art therapy. Instrumental music therapy is when the patients are given an instrument to use, and they will play this instrument along with the instructor of the music therapy session. Or if they're given a sheet of music, they'll play their instrument along. And with a listening-based music therapy session, the patients are put in either a calming place or a place of their choice, and they are um, certain music is played that is previously picked out and designed to help calm their symptoms, relax them, bring them to a calming state. Um, so those are the two methods that a music therapist can take, and two ways a patient can approach music therapy. My research on these different reports, as well as reports done on art therapy. With the art therapy sessions, PTSD patients were brought in and over a set period of time did art. And for all of these studies, the people writing the reports asked the patients many questions before and after in relation to their symptoms. And for all the reports, the end results showed that their symptoms were impacted and affected positively. So my first strand, what is PTSD and what is the standard care for PTSD patients? So I wanted to begin my paper firstly introducing what PTSD is. I talked about my first strand, I described in detail what PTSD is, how it affects people, how it is developed, diagnosed, how it is brought upon a patient. Roll into what the standard care for PTSD patients is, which is cognitive behavioral therapy. I discuss what that is. Essentially, a talking therapy. The therapist works with the patient through cognitive means, talking through their symptoms, how they can deal with a situation and get through it without maybe having too much of an overreaction, and just how they can handle their symptoms so that they are able to continue on with life and grow and be able to just have a somewhat normal life, and still be able to control these strong symptoms that can occur. Many of these symptoms may come from, if the person is put in a situation or confronted by a person that can trigger them. My second strand, I led into the alternate treatments. I described the standard care, but I developed or worked into my paper the alternate treatments, which are music and art therapy. I introduced music therapy, what it is, how it works, as well as art therapy. Like I said, music therapy can be either instrumental or listening, just using therapy to help these patients work through and ease their PTSD symptoms, which is the same for art therapy. Patients are brought in and they can do some form of art. Each class may vary, depends on the therapist. Typically, one session maybe have them painting, another they may be sculpting. It all depends, but overall the outcome is the same with just bringing a calming state. The outcomes were all positive. They showed these patients did not receive any negative effects, any negative outcomes. They were all very positive in the easing of their symptoms. They were all very positive outcomes. So with my third strand, I elaborated more on these alternate treatments. So I discussed what are the benefits of these alternatives and why is it important that these alternatives are offered. So I elaborated more on what I presented with my second strand of evidence. I elaborated more on the benefits. What about these benefits are important to even know? Why does it matter that there are benefits? I discussed why it is important that these alternatives are offered. It is important because with cognitive behavioral therapy, many patients reported that their outcomes were positive only if they were willing to attend the session. Cognitive behavioral therapy, it requires a bit more from the PTSD patient. They have to work through these symptoms, really dig deep into what causes maybe an outburst or a trigger. It deals with a lot of working through mentality, which is important for the patient, which many patients want to work through, but it's not what all patients want to work through. Many patients, when they find out they're diagnosed with PTSD, they want to just find something, attend a therapy session where they can just relax, have some fun, be a little active, just create. With creating, even if someone doesn't think they're a creative person, creating, it really brings a lot of self-confidence. With all of the studies that I found, one of the main outcomes that patients reported was a boost in self-confidence, which comes from creativity, of just seeing how you are able to create things that maybe you didn't think you could create. It really boosts a patient's self-confidence, which is really important for the patient to have. Kind of concluded why it was important to offer these alternatives. If a patient is only offered cognitive behavioral therapy, it may not be what they're looking for, and they may react more negatively to it. Patient is different, and overall the best interest is to just have them feel safe, feel relaxed. And so offering these different alternatives in place of or alongside cognitive behavioral therapy will allow a patient to find what they are looking for, find a way to relax on their own terms. So it is very important that these alternatives are offered if a patient is seeking something different, maybe not as permanent as like treating their symptoms right away, maybe just temporary relaxation through art or music therapy. So moving on to my product, I had a lot of fun creating my product. I was very happy with the outcome. I have a very creative side, especially when it just comes to working with music. So my product, I loved watching how my ideas for my product developed over the course of the semester, just working on this project. In the end, I was able to create this product, which is a YouTube playlist that I created, and I won't show it all, but what I did was I did a video for 10 different instruments. As you can see here, I did a video on the ocean drum, the cabasa, the rain stick, the maracas, the shekere, the piano, the djembe, the guitar, the tambourine, and the pedal drum. All of these instruments are the most common instruments used in an instrumental music therapy session, and each video is pretty similar to each other, including I discuss the similar information, where it comes from, what it sounds like, what it looks like, and what it is, how it's helpful. All of the information is presented in each video, but unique to the instrument. And I do that for a total of 10 different instruments. And yeah, overall, it was very fun to create, very fun to extend my work and my knowledge into a field, an area that I didn't really get to explore as much with my paper. So there was a lot of benefits with my product, and I'm very happy with how it turned out. So my favorite parts of senior project. Honestly, it really was everything. There was never a dull moment in the class. The class overall, the atmosphere was great, a great learning environment. I was able to learn so much from doing my project, partaking in the class, I think one of my favorite parts was watching um, how everything developed with my own ideas at the beginning, even my XYZ statement, my research question, my claim, even everything was always changing, which really showed me that with research, there is no limit. Everything you can always elaborate on, everything you can always learn more on, which, like brought so much, many emotions of like, wow, this is a lot. It's very fun to just learn that you can always be learning about more. It's kind of stressful knowing that, how no matter how much research, even if it's a full semester, I barely scratched the surface with this. Especially with my research, I learned that music therapy and especially art therapy and even cognitive behavioral therapy is a very, I wouldn't say necessarily new, but there's very little studies done on it, very little research. It was hard to find many of these studies. It's a very new topic in terms of just the information that is out there provided on it, um, which made it hard, but made it more fun. It was more of a challenge, and I'm someone who likes a challenge, so that was very fun. And yeah, back to just watching how um, myself as a person was able to grow and develop my product, developed my ideas for that, my project overall. Um, at the beginning, I just wanted to talk about music therapy. Um, I think the one of the greatest moments, not greatest moments, but one of the best experiences was Mr. Deku had told us that our paper had to be at least 10 pages long. So in my head, I had barely even begun research and I was thinking, 10 pages, how am I going to fill 10 pages? So with our first few logs, first few notes that we had to submit, I was just thinking of like, I thought, okay, I have to expand on everything because there's no way I'll be able to do 10 pages. I thought I had to, in my head, I was like, okay, I have to do the history of music therapy, discuss the history of everything so that I'm able to get a few pages done. And then I really had no idea and working through it all. And by the end, I felt like, wow, if I really filled those 10 pages, there's a lot more that I want to share, but by the end, I'd have 50 pages. And, it was so fun to watch how my afraid self, you know, I had no idea. And now seeing that, with all the research done, 10 pages isn't enough. Um, and I think with research, I was able to learn that research is never complete. I mean, my paper, of course, I was able to bring to a close, but I could elaborate on so many things, and I would love to continue learning about this stuff in college. And as well as that, another favorite part was just being able to develop my work ethic, time management. I loved watching how they changed, and I think that was a wonderful aspect was just being able to gain those skills in preparation for college, which leads me to what I gained from senior project was definitely just a wonderful, deeper understanding of how I can grow in my knowledge. I love learning and I just love always learning new things, um, researching more, developing growth. I think it's just one of the greatest things about just being alive. As cheesy as that sounds, I love just growing in knowledge, growing in anything, any aspect of life. And I think I really gained a knowledge of growth from senior project. I gained the knowledge that growth never ceases. Um, I gained so much work ethic skills before. I'm not great with time management, if I'm being honest. And I was really able to harden those skills. Before I, again, in all honesty, I tend to be a lazy person, so I might just, not put all my effort into something. But with this, I knew how serious it was, and I really had to turn on the gears, flip the switch, and say, I have to put my all in. I cannot be lazy. I have to really work hard on my research. And it really just built those gears of motivation, of not being lazy, getting my work done, and so many other skills that I'm so thankful that I'm able to bring into college next year. Just, yeah. So thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for watching. I hope I was able to um, introduce new ideas about the world of therapy and standards of care for PTSD. Like I said, there isn't enough time even in my presentation to explain it all, and I encourage you to go out and learn more. I think this topic is a wonderful topic to just have knowledge on, to share with others. If you know someone who suffers from this awful disease, share with them these different alternatives that they can turn to if they're not already participating in them. Or if they're not participating in anything, introduce them to any of these therapies. I think they're all wonderful tools to use. And yeah, it was an absolute joy being able to learn about this topic as well as just learn the overall skills from Senior Project. So thank you for watching.